I want to warn you, and that's that once you understand Adler psychology, there is no going back. You will never see people, relationships, or even yourself the same way again. Because this book doesn't teach you how to be liked. It teaches you how to be free. And in this video, I'm going to share with you everything I personally learned and try articulate my thoughts as best as possible from reading this book, The Courage to Be Happy, for the very first time. Most people think happiness comes from status, validation, being needed. Adler flips it into stating that happiness comes from belonging, contribution, and from choosing your life and not reacting to others. It's funny because with gym culture, self-improvement culture, dating culture, most of it is like, if you really dig deep, most of it is kind of approval seeking. Like I know for myself, when I first started going to the gym and wanting to build more muscle on my frame, was it genuinely because I wanted to do it for myself? Or was it that I wanted more attention and approval from others and for them to look at me and say, "Oh my God, Adrian, you've built so much muscle. How did you do it? How did you do it?" Self-improvement culture. Did I really want to do it for myself at the start? Or did I want others to look at me and say, "Oh my God, Adrian, you're doing a dopamine detox. Oh my God, Adrian, how are you so disciplined? Oh my God, Adrian, you've read all those books." What if I was to tell you that this approval-seeking mindset is not freedom, and that you can be jacked, disciplined, even rich, and still be psychologically enslaved by this like inner voice which makes you believe that all of your actions have to be for others and never yourself? Now I know already, you're probably already getting like a little bit fired up and saying, "No, Adrian, I build muscle for me. I don't do self-improvement for others. I do it for myself and how it makes me happy, not that it gives me more respect from others." Bro, let's relax and realize that I did the same as you. Heck, probably 1 month ago, I realized and had this awareness that this whole time, was I really self-improving? Or was I others improving? Because I just wanted other people to look at me and say, "Oh my God, Adrian, how do you do that? How do you do that?" Ego-driven. I want to dive deep into Adler and his psychology, just so you have a bit more of like a background and understanding of what it even all is really about. Before I dive deep into the 4 lessons I'm going to try my best to teach you. I have it here written on my notes, and that's that Adler states you are not determined by your past. You act based on what you want to achieve. This destroys victim identity. A lot of us think our whole self-image, our whole identity is based on our past, and that we can't change or else we're considered different and not our locked-in identity. Which is funny because in my previous video, I speak a lot about how to change your identity, and that video is actually based on this core lesson. I dive super deep into this one lesson. If you right now think you can't change, think you can't do this, think you can't start posting content, going on dates, going to the gym, that is what you want to achieve. Like, super spiritual, but let's think of an example here. Let's say I'm anxious because of my childhood. You need to realize that it's not anxiety. It is a strategy to avoid risk, rejection, and responsibility. People like putting some sort of fancy negative word on top of something. as a cover-up to not change. Now, this book, The Courage to Be Happy, is the sequel from the first book, The Courage to Be Disliked, which I did make a full guide video on, and I will link it in the description. And the whole book is basically a conversation between a philosopher and a youth teacher who comes to the philosopher asking him, how can I control my classroom better? And the whole book is just dialogue between them going back and forth, and the teacher saying, no, that can't be right. And the philosopher, who's been studying Adler psychology for years, gives him the broad, brutal, philosophical answer. The truth, or Adler's truth, you can call it. And he gives him the truth, and the truth, quite frankly, hurts for the teacher. Think of it like this. If you were to ask me, Adrian, I can't go to the gym, I am bad at gaining muscle. Which sounds like completely stupid and completely like, that makes no sense. Everyone can build muscle. You go to the gym for 2-3 months, you log your workouts, you eat healthy, you sleep on time. Over time, naturally, you probably will start to have more muscle on your frame. If we can dig deep into this excuse of, I am bad at gaining muscle, is that the truth? Or is it a cover-up? Is it a cover-up in the fact that I have written here, he's protecting himself from the ego death of trying and failing. So now I read this and I dug deep. I'm like, what was the one thing that was stopping me from getting behind the camera first? Was it that I couldn't speak too well? Was it that maybe I had a little bit of a lisp, or I didn't really like how my hair looked, my mouth looked, my eyes? Or was it that I feared ego death of trying and failing, of, oh my God, I recorded myself speak for 30 minutes to an hour and I failed, and now everyone's going to view me as a failure. Everyone's going to view me. Hold on. I'm living for other people and not me. Lessons I'm going to go later on in this video is that we can only control our own task and the separation of tasks, what Adler is like famously known for. I am living an unfree life if I am personally not doing what I want to do out of the fear of failing or trying and risking my ego. Right now, bro, you'll be surprised that you actually have a bigger ego than you may think, and that's because you're kind of unaware of what ego actually is. Ego lives on other people's opinions. Ego does everything, all of the actions with ego come with like approval seeking. And that's not authentically you. Because what is the ego capable of doing? The ego is capable of holding you back and you not taking a risk of you not doing something you actually want to do out of the fear of failing. But if we can almost erase the ego part of it, can we even fail? Adler states. Because your emotions are not reactions, I have written here. They are tools you unconsciously use to justify the life you're choosing. Emotions are not reactions. You say you feel anxious. You say you can't build muscle because you have these genetics, or you're angry or depressed. Emotions are not reactions. They are tools you unconsciously use to justify the life you're choosing. I'm going to say this again because this has made me view life in such a scary way, and I can see all of my past experiences where I was guilty of exactly this. Your emotions are not reactions. They are tools you unconsciously use to justify the life you are choosing for yourself. Oh, Adrian, I can't record videos because it makes me feel like this and I get this emotion of anxiety. That is what I used to say. But I wasn't really anxious. I was using anxiety as a tool to not experience the fear of failure or rejection or other people judging me. I was living for other people. I didn't have the courage, as the book is titled, I didn't have the courage to be happy. And I know, bro, I know this sounds super spiritual and you're probably arguing, Adrian, no, you can't just invalidate my emotions. I know my emotions are real and they're coming from a right place. I know they are. I know they are. I'm depressed because I'm depressed. I'm anxious because I'm anxious. Why? Why was I feeling a bit lazy this morning and not really wanting to record this video? Oh, I can just do it tomorrow. Why was that the case? Because maybe I was scared that people might view me in a different light for saying depression doesn't exist. I feel like the sooner we can accept that emotions are tools to cover up what we actually want to choose our life, I hope I explained that well, the sooner we'll make progress to living a more authentic, free life that we have control over. What is a masculine trait? A masculine trait is having emotional regulation, right? Okay, if you feel anxious, do habits which make you feel more grounded. Go meditate, go for a run, go to the sauna. That's the advice I used to share and which we all used to hear about. But what if I told you that this isn't always the case? Because I knew the times where I felt anxious and I was to do this advice of go do physical activity, try meditate, do a dopamine detox, which I actually am doing now. I've deleted all my social media apps. I'm one day in. The anxiety would keep coming back. And I'd be in this loophole of, okay, I'm anxious, let's do more physical activity. Let's go for another run. Let's go for another sauna. And then, okay, the anxiety will go away because I'm staying like preoccupied, but maybe that's just because I wasn't actually dealing with the main root problem. It's not that I had to become grounded. It's that I had to face and find out why I am using this emotion as a tool to not do what I actually want to do. Very confronting lesson. And I know if you're watching this video, this isn't what you expected like 10 minutes in, that, oh my God, anxiety isn't real this whole time. Your emotions are not reactions, they are tools. And this is what Adler states, and something I'm starting to become more aware of day by day. So that was what Adler really believed in. And I want to dive deep into the first lesson here, and that's that all problems stem from interpersonal relationships. One of Adler's most confronting ideas was that anxiety, anger, inferiority, jealousy, validation addiction is how you see yourself in relation to others, okay? Example, a gym example is, let's say you're comparing your physique, you're feeling small to someone you saw on social media while you were scrolling. Your suffering isn't about the event, it's about what it means for your position in the social world, because us humans, we're all social beings. We all want to feel belonged. That's quite frankly what we're wired for. When we don't feel like we're belonging, we feel rejection from the tribe and our system goes fight or flight. We feel like we're not good enough. So that whole example means all of our problems we get right now, all of the comparisons, all of the feelings of superiority, inferiority, of validation seeking, jealousy. Jealousy, it all comes from others. If there was not another human being on this planet, no problems would exist. And you can quite frankly argue pointless problems. Genuinely think right now, where do all of these feelings of jealousy, feeling of not good enough, where do they come from? They come from your phone, specifically social media. And I've told the story in the past how I did a social media detox 3 years ago and I lasted 6 days. And in those 6 days, I felt the best I'd ever felt in my life. And ever since that point in time, I've been saying to myself, 3 years, I'm going to do another social media detox. I'm going to do another social media detox. But I never did it until last night. I deleted all of my apps. I said, fuck this. Call it a Sunday motivational spike, call it whatever. But when I read this book, The Courage to Be Happy, and I became more aware of the fact that the reason why I feel not good enough right now, the reason why I feel jealous, the reason why I'm comparing myself, the reason why my brain is so negative and it's affecting my relationship, it's affecting my social relationships, it's affecting my own well-being, is because I'm lacking the understanding that all of these problems stem from interpersonal relationships. And they're not the right problems I personally want to try to solve because you can't solve them. Rather, I need to accept the fact that yes, us humans are social beings. We are wired to belong, but most people try to belong through superiority or inferiority, vertical relationships, feeling inferior or superior. Who's honking, man? Rather, we need to have more of these horizontal relationships, and that's that accepting people for what they are, living to our own values, erasing this whole superior, inferior complex of look at me, I'm better than you. Because that whole ideology and addiction, I'll call it, never leads to any sort of happiness. And I know what you're thinking, oh, but Adrian, no. If I don't feel superior or inferior, I will never grow. Yes. Inferiority can spike growth. I know for me, every single time I compared myself to, let's say, a guy who had a better physique, a better environment, way of living, I naturally felt like shit and wanted to be better. And this did give me some growth in my own self-improvement. However, a lot of it is ego, and it can lead to burnout, right? Because let's zoom back to what I said at the start. Am I building the physique because I want to? Or is it that I want to be better than person B because I think he's better than me? And if eventually, okay, maybe I do train hard in the gym. Maybe I start even more healthier. Maybe I start sleeping better. I start training harder. And maybe 1 to 2 years from now, I build a better physique than him. Let me ask you the question then. Do you think once I've built a better physique than him, do you think I will then be happy? No. Because I wasn't building the physique for the right reasons. How easy of it would it be for me to make progress with my physique, beat him, this vertical relationship, which I've never actually spoken to him, but it's still a relationship because, yes, I haven't spoken to him. You're probably thinking, oh, but Adrian, you didn't have a relationship with him. I did. Subtly, we had a relationship because I compared myself. You need to realize, bro, that, okay, if someone's not your closest friend and you're not speaking to him every day, but you still compare yourself, that is still a relationship. Because there is a feeling between one another. It's an interpersonal problem. What if I was to also tell you that when you drive your car and you stop at a red light and you give way to someone, that itself is still a relationship because that requires trust. So let's not throw out and say, oh, but Adrian, I didn't have a relationship to him, so you're wrong. And I just built a real physique for me. No. All problems stem from interpersonal relationships. That is what Allah digs so deep into. So, okay, you train super hard and you build a better physique than him. Are you going to feel happy? Because now you feel more accepted in the tribe. No. Because you didn't do it for the right reasons. Now you're going to compare yourself. Let's say you're scrolling on your phone and you see now a new guy who has 10 kilos more muscle than this original guy. It's a loophole of lacking the courage to be happy right now. And it's endless. You're going to feel drained. You're going to have periods of maybe you don't even go to the gym because you didn't decide to choose it for the right reasons. You need to understand that this feeling of trying to develop more horizontal relationships rather than feeling inferior or superior is arguably the most important area of self-improvement, because I know every time I felt superior or inferior through social media, I would then come try record these videos, and I would almost speak in a different way because maybe 10 minutes before recording, I saw someone else's YouTube video and I saw how well he spoke. And then naturally I come to my camera with maybe 10% different energy from my actual authentic self, just because I had this feeling of not good enough and I ranked this person as more superior than me. Do you think that will last in the long term? Or rather, do you think I should just start to be more of myself and I should still welcome and have this understanding that all problems are interpersonal, but don't change my values and accept people for who they are right now? Before we speak about lesson 2, there's this part in the book that I want to read to you about why vertical relationships can be so harmful. And the philosopher tells here to the teacher, when children are placed within the principle of competition, okay, vertical relationships, feeling inferior or superior, and driven to contend with others, what do you think happens? One's competitor is one's enemy. Before long, the children start to adopt a lifestyle in which they believe that all other people are my enemies and people are always looking for chances to trick me and must never be underestimated. It goes as simple as saying that if you view one person as an enemy, you're most likely going to view everyone as an enemy. And that is basically you always feeling superior or inferior and not entirely healthy for your true self. Lesson number 2 is community feeling, and that's belonging through contribution. True happiness is I belong, I am useful, and I contribute. Those 3 things. Not I am admired, I am feared, I am superior. Because with those 3, like I'm superior, I'm inferior, there's always an equal opposite. Now, this might be a bit confusing at first, but let's try wrap your head around. If I personally feel superior to you, what's the opposite of superior? Inferior. I am basically 100% in any other area of my life feeling inferior to someone else. So I'm not happy. Although people who think that they feel superior to one person, there is always someone else who they will feel inferior to. This has just like shocked me just saying this. It's like if I have a left hand, what's the equal opposite? A right hand. Left, right, dang, dang. Now, let me repeat what I got written here. True happiness is I am belong, I am useful, and I contribute. That's it. The most human desire we all have and need to basically function in today's world is to feel useful. I know I get this feeling through recording these videos. Like, I feel useful teaching younger Adrian stuff that I didn't know. That should be it. I shouldn't record these videos speaking to my younger self saying, I'm superior than you. I'm better. You should fear me. Or else then I can't be happy. If I record my videos like that, I'm gonna stop finishing this video, have my ego very high, then I'm gonna go for a walk, I might go to the gym, and I'm gonna see someone who's bigger than me or this or that, all this superficial stuff, and instantly rank myself as inferior and view him as an enemy, and then just do stuff inauthentically to try be better than him. Thinking life is like a big competition. See someone with, 100k more subscribers, and maybe I'm about to hit 1k, and then I'm just climbing to 100k to beat him. I'm just viewing everything as a competition, and I'm not feeling useful. I'm getting these negative feelings that I shouldn't feel, that, I'm superior, I'm inferior. I would train, I would lift weights just to look better than others. Not right. And a quick action step at the middle part of this video is I want you to ask yourself, your whole journey, has it been for yourself to feel useful, to feel belonging, to feel like you're contributing in any sort of way? What are ways to build a physique the happy way? Okay, maybe you built your physique to prove to your younger self that you can do it. And maybe this has caused motivation to your friends and you've contributed in their journey just from your own progress. That's healthy. It should just be you. And when other people look at you, they think, wow, you've built a work of art and that has just motivated me to start training. Thank you, Adrian. I'm going to start going to the gym now. That's contribution. Because you did it for yourself, not to be bigger than that other guy. Because that other guy, who knows what problems he has or he's dealing with. You're trying to learn. You're trying to be more educated, not for anyone else, but for yourself. It's why you're 20 to 25 minutes into this video, eager to listen and learn. What's a content example of this? Okay, you post content for likes compared to the happier version of you who posts to actually help someone change their life. Completely different. And I know you're probably thinking, oh no, Adrian, you can't think like that. There's always some sort of evil, calculated reason to why you post, to get money, for attention, status, validation. It takes courage to admit you're doing actions for the right reason, because I have a quote here from the book. If your sense of worth comes from being above others, you will always secretly be terrified of falling. I thought I said failing. Of falling. So you're kind of like living life on edge. I'm going to post content, but not too much in case this other person says something about it. I'm going to go gym, but not too much in case people think my whole life is just gym. The reasons aren't really adding up. I want to see here if I can find a quote. Here we go. This is all about community feeling. A person's worth is decided by the way in which they fulfill their role in assigning the division of labor in their community. In other words, a person's worth is not something that is decided by what kind of work they engage in. It is decided by the attitude which they undertake that work. You're probably thinking that there's different work tasks, and some work tasks, like let's say posting content, comes with more, oh, you're doing this from others, compared to the work task of being a garbage man and emptying bins. We do everything for community feeling and being useful. Me posting content compared to the guy who empties rubbish bins, it's work, and it's all for problems. What's most important isn't what kind of work task right now that you engage in. It's the attitude you have while doing this task. If I was to do this task of posting content and completely do it for others, people's opinions and how they look at me, and am I accepted or rejected, etc., will I ever be happy? I'm better off just being a garbage man and emptying bins every single day whilst doing happy and doing it knowing I'm helping people not have any sort of overflowing bin. Then I would actually have a better quality of life, right? As stupid as that sounds, you're probably thinking, what? No, Adrian, being a content creator or being jacked or being a celebrity, it's way better than being a garbage man. Is it really? Or is everything just about attitude towards what sort of work task you're doing? Because like I said 20 minutes ago, all problems stem from interpersonal relationships, and with work, why do we work? Why do we do any sort of work task? To feel useful, to contribute to society, because that is a human desire. So now ask yourself, what work tasks do I want to do that feel purposeful to me, but that also I can have this attitude of doing it to help someone's life? Because every single task of work, literally someone just came now to drop off Uber Eats or a Coles delivery thing. That came from an interpersonal problem. You probably heard the knock on the door. If right now you hate your job, is it that you hate your job, or is that you hate the problems that you're solving and that you're not bringing a good attitude to this job? Get you thinking. So I just want to quickly revise what we've gone through so far. We've gone over community feeling and belonging through contribution, which is what we just spoke about. We spoke about how all problems are interpersonal relationships. And we spoke about Adler's purpose and why your past, you are not determined by your past, and how you act based on what you want to achieve, okay? So lesson number 3, this is the biggest part of this video, and I want you to give this your full focus, not like make sure you're zoomed out of the video looking at comments or going between apps or doing something else. For this part of the video specifically, I want you to give it your full presence, attention, and focus, as this will allow you to absorb Adler's way of thinking and my understanding of it as best of possible. And that's that. This is going to be about self-centeredness versus self-reliance, and how self-centeredness is basically living a child lifestyle, and our goal as humans is to become as self-reliant as possible, to grow up and start to become an adult and get this feeling of contribution through work without the ego part of things, okay? So I just said self-centeredness is a child lifestyle. What does that mean? When we're a child, what do we feel? What do we think? We like to think that we are the center of attention and that it is our world. And we're just going to live or do everything for our own selfish needs. We're not going to go outside of our comfort zone. When we don't get that toy we want, we're going to cry until we get that toy. We're going to create tantrums and all this stuff. And I know what the first excuse you're getting or limiting belief you have right now, it's that, oh, Adrian, they're children. How can you speak down on children? Children are emotional because they're young. There's a part written in this book, I wish I knew which page it was, but it's that, what if I told you children aren't as dumb as you think they are, and that their brain is almost close to an adult brain. The only problem with them is that their physical side of things, like their body, isn't met to the standard of, let's say, an adult. But their brain is up there. Like the human brain is capable of a lot of stuff. So now you're thinking, oh, so their brain's ahead of their physical needs. What does that lead to? That leads to a feeling of in control. They almost have to wait for their body to catch up to them before they can start being an adult and adopt more of this self-reliant mindset. So when you feel in control, naturally, you're going to create tantrums, you're going to be more self-centered to get attention, etc., etc., etc. Now, what is self-centeredness? It is not narcissism, it's a psychological self-absorption, which you ask the question of, how do they see me? When you're a child, you're constantly doing stuff to think, how do they see me? What if they judge me? What if I fail? What if I look stupid? Whilst failing to realize that all of those quotes is ego, because you're looking at other people and how they view you. Fear of failure. How are they going to see me if I record content and fail, Adrian? You're not self-reliant. Now, what does it mean to be self-reliant? I actually took a screenshot on my phone, which is on airplane mode. It has been the last 3 hours I've been awake. If you don't believe me, I took a screenshot of some chat I had with ChatGPT, speaking about the whole moving from a self-centered to self-reliant mindset and how it involves shifting focus from inward, ego-driven needs to independent, responsible action, ultimately freeing oneself to connect with others. Self-centeredness revolves around protecting or indulging the yourself, while self-reliance is the capability to trust one's judgment and take responsibility, fostering healthy independence. Self-centered individuals focus solely on personal gain and attention, hence babies crying. It's like a very childish lifestyle. Self-reliant individuals focus on internal resources such as emotional regulation, solving their own problems and not making excuses. Self-centeredness often leads to isolation because it's ego, and now you're actually becoming a lot more isolated and lonely from something you created with their own self-centeredness and ego. So now that it's not that most people are lonely because they're lonely. Most people are lonely because they are self-centered and they don't have the courage to be happy, the courage to be independent. And I know this is a lot, but I'm basically screaming at younger Adrian. I thought and always asked the question, how are they going to see me? What if they judge me? What if they do this? I was a man-child. And right now, you probably are too. We need to start to adopt and make progress and ask the question of, how can I be more self-reliant? And how can we? Well, there's different ways. Mindfulness, actively reduce self-absorption by shifting focus outward and becoming more aware of others, so having empathy. Emotional maturity, developing the ability to self-soothe and manage emotions independently rather than relying on others for validation. A lot of people can't sit there and handle their own emotions. When people feel like shit, what are they going to do? They're going to escape. They're going to look for validation. Oh, I feel like shit, so let me ask 100 friends, and if 99 of tell them to focus on myself, but one of them validates me, I'm just going to care about that one person. Self-absorbed, center of attention, not going to feel happy because you don't have the courage to be happy. You need to realize that there is no end to approval. If right now you're chasing approval, you will never be happy. Does the child ever go to adult from constantly chasing approval? Or does he have to suck it up, have to have the courage, the independence to make the flip? Because there will be no different from clockwork dolls that do not move unless another person winds them up. You won't be happy until you get more validated. It's endless. And which the next lesson, I'm going to speak about how the separation of tasks and how it is your task to be happy. And it's the other person's task, which you have no control of, to choose you. But that's not your problem. It's the part I have highlighted here. And that the person who is capable of feeling truly happy only upon being praised will seek to get praised more until the very last moment of their lives. Such a person, having been left in a position of dependence, will lead a life of ceaseless seeking, a life without fulfillment. Your whole last however many years you've been on this planet, ask yourself, have I been self-centered? Or have I been a little bit more self-reliant? Have I been challenging my own emotions and thoughts and asking why I feel like this? Or have I been escaping them and doom scrolling, seeing toxic content which validates me for feeling what I'm feeling, but not actually fighting the root cause? Have I been going to nightclubs and just drinking alcohol because it's kind of fun in the moment, but afterwards it leaves me feeling more upset, anxious, sad because I didn't face what I wanted to face? Gambling, junk food. This whole time I'm like searching for some sort of external because I am a man child, and I know that's a cruel word. And I'm calling my younger self this as well. I was self-centered. I didn't even know what it meant to be self-reliant. I didn't know that word existed. I was with my cousin yesterday at my dad's barbecue, and we're having a conversation about this, and we were speaking about this in depth. And that passage I just read before, I read that to him, and it was the best conversation I've had all year. I asked him first, do you know what it means to be self-reliant? Because I just learned about this in the book I'm reading recently. And he said no. And I told him about it, and his whole brain went like, what the fuck? And even my brain went, what the fuck? Because when I can articulate and speak out my thoughts, it's like I'm teaching myself as well, compared to just thinking about what I've read in the book. When I can speak about it, it feels like an act of contribution, and it even helps myself because I separate me from myself, and that's separation of the ego. Self-reliance is when your self-worth is not up for negotiation. Whereas self-centeredness is living as if the entire world is a mirror reflecting back your value. Self-reliance is I decide my worth. I act based on my values. I don't outsource my identity. It means, like, let's say with the gym, I train if I'm skinny or strong. A key moment in my self-improvement journey is when I went to the gym and I said, regardless if I'm skinny, which I was like 60 kilos, regardless if I don't know how to lift the weights, regardless if I look like an absolute fool and people are going to look at me, I'm still going to go, because this is going to be the difference from going from self-centered to self-reliant. I know the gym is the right thing for me personally, so I'm just going to go regardless of my current situation. I'm going to go through the pain now to live a less painful life in the future. There's so many people who say, oh, I'm just going to go to the gym once I feel ready. Adrian, I can't lift weights yet. I'm still too skinny. With failing to realize that to become semi-jacked, you need to go to the gym now. It's always going to be painful at the start. That's a self-centered attitude. You're caring too much about others and leaving yourself in the dust. Put yourself first. If I was skinny again, I would go to the gym as soon as possible. I delayed it for like maybe a couple months. And then I had my friend pushing me saying, Adrian, come. We got to get stronger on the basketball court. Let's go. And I went. For me personally, the gym was the foundation to make progress in my own life. And when I did that, I then started to realize that, oh my God, everything's coming together. No one was to tell me to go to the gym. I didn't go for others. I went for myself. What can I do more for myself? Oh, let's read more books. Because I know when I read more books, I become more educated. I can leave more of a positive impact on this world through sharing whatever I have to share to my friends, through my content, through my relationships. Self-centeredness versus self-reliance, arguably the biggest and most important lesson of this whole guide. And I want you to take this seriously. If any part of you has lost focus or attention during this segment of the guide, go back and rewatch it. Take notes like I have taken notes of all the book I've read and highlighting parts and got more notes here. It's a hard mindset to adopt, and it takes risk, you can say. But what's more of a risk? You staying in this childhood lifestyle and not growing up? Or you saying, screw it, all I have is myself, so I'm just going to go to the gym. I'm just going to start doing more stuff for myself and fighting these emotions I feel because no one else is going to fight them for me. Lesson 4 of the Courage to be Happy full guide is the task of separation of tasks. Adler's concept is that we should only control what we can control, and we shouldn't worry about the other person's task. What's an example of this? Okay, my task is to record these videos, speak with my mouth, and upload them. What is not my task, which is something I shouldn't worry about? How many views this video gets, how many likes it gets, what the comments are, what people have to say about it. That's not my task, so I shouldn't worry about it. I am separating myself from other people's tasks. And when I can do that, it gives me more happiness than if I was to care a lot about other people's tasks. Because why should I care so much about what I can't control? If I care so much about what I can't control, then I quite literally have to change my own values and live an inauthentic life. And it will lead to overthinking. It will lead to anxiety. It will lead to depression. It will lead to me never being happy because I don't have the courage to let go and realize that I can't control what I can't control. I need to almost think of my brain as like a web browser, and whatever tabs are open that I have no control over, I just need to close them, organize my brain, and just get rid of them. Haters, okay, I can't control what the haters have to say, so why should I care? It's not my task to hate. It's their job to hate on me. I shouldn't care about their job. Back to the garbage man analogy. It's not my task or stress to worry that every bin needs to be full to make sure I'm collecting as much rubbish. I can't control how much rubbish people put in a bin, man. And when I can almost like let go, I feel good. I feel happy. I do my tasks now with more fulfillment, more ambition, more joy. Just because all I can control is my own tasks, man. I gotta stop caring about other people's opinions, reactions, and approval, because I can't control how much someone approves me for this video. I can't control people's opinions on this video. I should only double down and care more about how I am navigating my way through my own tasks. Am I giving every day with my full presence, focus, and attention? Am I attacking every day? Am I doing what I'm saying I'm gonna do? Because I know when I live life like that, I am happy. The moment you try to control how others feel about you is the moment you lose control over how you live. And that sucks. If I lose control over my actions and how I live, I am then self-centered and living a childhood lifestyle. Just like how the child can't really control how they can control their lives yet, just because they physically can't. They're a child. They have no choice but to be self-centered. But now we're all watching these videos. I know my target audience is like 18 and 26-year-old young, ambitious men. We're not a child anymore. We've got to grow up and care about what we can control now and feel more in control of our life. No, and feel more control rather than in control, right? Start having more responsibility for your actions and not other people's reactions. I want to hit and target the final, I guess, limiting belief you're probably getting right now when it comes to living or having the courage to be happy. And that's love, courage, and being ordinary. As young men, when we were little kids, we all got taught from our feminine, nurturing mother that we're so special, we're so special, we're so special. What if I was to tell you that this childhood phase of us getting treated like we're the center of the world, center of attention all the time, and that we are truly special, can actually do us more harm than good? Because when we grow up and we start to view people as inferior or superior, we start to actually feel that we're not as special as our mum told us we were. What if I was to tell you that the split second we can start to accept the fact that we are ordinary is the same second we're going to start to go throughout our days being more of ourselves? Because when we carry this attitude of, look at me, I'm so special, when we come across someone and he maybe sees us as not special, what are we going to do? We're going to try to please him. We're going to try to be more of a people pleaser. And when we're a people pleaser, we're now not authentic and we're being inauthentic and we're chasing this guy's approval and opinion of us. So we're not really living a courageous, happy life to say. I have here in a quote from the book, if you feel insulted by, let's just say, anything I said previous in this video about separation of tasks, about being self-centered, all this stuff, I've given you this wisdom in this 1 hour full guide. The final limiting belief we need to smash is that you are probably still trying to be special. Consequently, you seek approval from others. Consequently, you seek to gain admiration and draw attention and continue to live within the framework of problem behavior. Instead of placing worth on being different from other people, you need to start placing more worth on being yourself, because that is true individuality. Place worth on being myself, even if that's mediocre? Yes, because your individuality is not something relative. It is absolute. I knew for me, myself personally, the split second I could let go of other people's opinions and have a place and my own and be more of myself, I became less anxious instantly. I didn't have this fear of, oh my God, what if I make a mistake in my videos? What if I speak wrong? What if people see I'm looking at notes in my videos? It's just who I am. There's nothing wrong with it. If it's a mistake to someone else, it's not a mistake to me because I place value on my own worth. And if that's ordinary, if I'm ordinary because I'm looking at notes or if I'm reading passages from a book compared to some other guy who's recording this same video, but he says every word perfectly, I don't care. That's him. That's not my worry. I'm me. Yeah, I do look at notes when I record these videos because I'm not special. And if that takes a hit on my ego, I don't care. I don't let my ego control me. And I don't want your ego to control you. Just say to yourself right now, as much as this probably hurts your ego, it's going to make you progress and become more of your true self. Say, I am not special. And feel the emotions you feel when you say those words. When you say them, do you feel any sort of rejection? Any sort of feelings of I'm not good enough? Or do you actually start to feel a little bit of relaxation and almost this like weight on your shoulders start to come off? I'm not special. I'm just a normal guy recording in my room in my favorite singlet and pajama shorts. And let's share what I learned through reading this book. Understand that real confidence equals no need to dominate. The whole reason why you want to feel special is because you view everyone as an enemy and you have this whole ideology of all relationships are vertical relationships and this whole feeling of superior and inferior. And you're this seeking of approval of others. You're going through your work tasks, your love tasks, your friendships, while viewing all of them with this negativity and enemy approval seeking. Do you see how it's all coming together now? Self-reliance, community feeling, belonging, feeling special. This book, The Courage to Be Happy by Ichiro Kishimi, which is what my girlfriend bought me, has been the best book I have read out of all of the 50 books I've personally read in the last 3 years. I wish my younger self could get access to this wisdom, this knowledge, this education, because all of my actions, 90% of them, although I felt like some self-love and growth within my own journey, a lot of it, most of the time, was approval seeking. And these videos, they help me feel heard. They help me articulate my thoughts. And that's my task. It is not my task from how other people react to this video, so it is not something I should care about. Adler psychology, like I said at the start of this video, I warned you, once you slowly start to understand it, there is no going back and you're going to start viewing friendships, relationships, yourself in a different light, a better light. If my younger self had access to this full guide, I would pay him God knows how much to get this sooner. Because I constantly had this mindset of I need to be special. I'm not special yet because I don't have an extra inch on my bicep. I need to be special so I can't delete social media and Instagram and this and that because I need to stay updated and see what other people are doing and how I can one-up them in any sort of area. Screw that, bro. There is no need to prove anything with being special. You need to be ordinary. You need to be more of you. You need to be your true, authentic self and have this individuality that you are one of a kind. Because there is not another version of you for being you. Once you can understand that most of your suffering comes from having to be seen in any sort of way, is the same second you can understand that freedom is terrifying. Because now you can't blame anyone for yourself. And that's the biggest blessing. Because I knew when I could understand that all of my actions are now just for me and not for approval seeking, I'm going to be honest, at first I felt anxiety. With doing a dopamine detox and deleting Instagram, I felt anxiety because now I can't get as of much attention. But attention isn't my task, so it's not something I should worry about. So I said, screw it, I'm off this. I'm gonna put more focus and quality in my YouTube videos. I'm gonna start recording 1 hour vlogs because I know future Adrian, when he watches these backs, he can be grateful that he put his ego aside, he put his self-centeredness aside, and he put himself first and his own self-reliance and started to focus on more of the tasks that he can control. His attitude that he brings to his work, his attitude he brings to his friendships, his attitude he brings to his love life. When I can focus more on internal, not external, then I will start to have more of the balls, the courage to be happy. And only up until then, I will start to live more of a life that is how I want to live it. Freedom. True freedom. I want to leave you with a final actionable step for the top 1% of viewers who have stayed and absorbed all of this knowledge and education in this 1 hour guide. And that actionable step is I want you to read, purchase, and invest in both books. First, The Courage to Be Disliked, and then the sequel. As they kind of go in chronological order, you need to read the first one first to understand more of the second. And then to read and invest in the book, The Courage to Be Happy. I will leave links in the description to reduce more of that friction and resistance with you buying the books. But just know that right now, if you're lacking direction in your life and you maybe need direction from another to get the ball rolling, I am quite frankly giving you the direction you need, and that is to read these books and to then come back to this video and leave a comment of what you learned in these books to reach that next level and what you learned. Because I know watching this video, yes, you're getting my information and what I learned from the book, and yes, you can say you're fast tracking the whole process, but I know my younger self would watch videos of this in the past and these lessons wouldn't stick to me. The lessons get more gluey and stick to me more when I read it. There's something different about reading and then speaking about it. And heck, if you even record yourself, maybe you can record and share what you learn. But I know every single time I read a book and then I have a conversation with my friend about the book, that's when I develop a much more deeper understanding and start to firmly believe in what I read. The Courage to Be Happy by Ichiro Kishimi. I hope I pronounced that right. And thank you for watching. I hope you learned a thing or two. Good luck. If this video has motivated or educated you, I've just opened up my private self-improvement community, the Petis Syndicate. That will be the first link in the description. Once you trust me enough through watching my content, I highly recommend you check it out, as it is a place which is all about connection, brotherhood, and becoming the best version of ourselves. We have pre-recorded courses, 2 live calls a week, and a discussion thread where you can post or ask questions at any single time of the day. Other than that, make sure to also check out the second link in the description, which is the top 10 books to help me become more of a masculine man. Finally, make sure you click the subscribe button, also a little bell icon, so kind of like a reminder when I do upload these types of videos, so you can watch them and educate yourself as soon as humanly possible. I'm going to edit up this 1 hour guide now. Wish me luck. I want to have it out by today. Today's a rest day, so I'm just going to go ham on the content. And I'll see you, and someone's revving their motorbike. And I'll see you in the next video. You got this, brother. Peace.